Post-fertilization process happens after the fertilization process. This fertilization process, as I already told to you in the last class, also called as syngamy. Syngamy is also called as what exactly? The fertilization process, which happens exactly. Syngamy process happens exactly after the pre-fertilization process. So syngamy. So again back I'm repeating syngamy. So syngamy denotes what exactly the process happens after fertilization. No, it is the other name of fertilization, right? So now, if you're talking about the endosperm structure, this endosperm structure which nourishes the zygote to make that zygote or a diploid cell as embryo, right? So this embryo development is happening from the ovule with zygote. Again back I'm repeating, ovule and zygote together makes a seed. The seed is having the nutritive substance for making the plant to grow. When the fruit we are observing in terms of its anatomy, we are observing the seed inside the fruit. The seed cover is called what? Ovary cover. Again back we need to understand seed cover is also called as ovary cover or ovary wall. Like this we should not say. Only the fruit wall is developing from the ovary wall. The seed wall is not the ovary wall, right? So the fruit wall is coming from ovary wall. The seed coat is not the fruit coat, right? So be very careful with all these things. Now, as I already told you, endosperm nourishes the zygote to become embryo. Okay. So if you're talking about the cellular endosperm is formed by the which particular structure? In the last class I told you secondary polar nucleus. We know very well secondary polar nucleus is mainly responsible for the formation of the endosperm. The secondary polar nucleus is the word we are saying after the fusion of two primary polar nucleus. Two primary polar nucleus, once it is getting fused, you are getting secondary polar nucleus, right? So now this secondary polar nucleus makes endosperm and this endosperm nourishes the zygote to become embryo, right? So this endosperm is rich in carbohydrate. What do you mean about carbohydrate? Why we need to study carbohydrate, right? This carbohydrate is a readily available nutrients for the plant to make the ATP. So the carbohydrate like starch, if it is broken, you're getting glucose. The glucose, once it is broken, you're getting energy. This energy makes the embryonic tissue to get multiplied into millions and trillions. Why we need the embryo cell need to get developed, then only the plant parts will be developed. For making the plant parts, we need embryonic tissue. For making the embryonic tissue, we need the nutrients like starch, which is given by the endosperm. This endosperm structure is very, very important for the plant, specifically to make the embryo from the zygote, right? So sometimes we'll be saying embryo as developing embryo, which is going to become developed embryo. Developed embryo is going to make the root and shoot system, right? We need the protein. Protein is very, very important for the plant to get duplicated into many number. In the sense, the protein is acting as an enzyme. I'm a plant cell. I need the enzyme. For what for? To run the metabolism. So for running the metabolism, I require protein as an enzyme, right? So this endosperm stores nutrients as we already narrated for you. Okay, these nutrients might be a protein, might be a carbohydrate, might be a fat. So the fat in the form of lipid is very, very important for the seed to support the plant development to happen. We know very well Photosynthesis process is very, very important for the plant to make the starch. So the protein is not formed because of the photosynthesis. Only the starch, which is a carbohydrate, formed because of photosynthesis. We know the nutrients, basically, it is taken from the endosperm through scutellum. So scutellum, the word we are using for the cotyledon in monocot. Either you say monocot or either you say monocotyledon, both are same. That is having the scutellum structure which is making the nutrient circulation to happen. That means the scutellum is acting as a placenta. Okay. In the embryo, if you're talking about hypocotyl, the word we explained in the picture, this hypocotyl is very, very important for the plant to make the radicle. So this plant is making the root from radicle. The root is arising from the radicle. The radicle is arising from hypocotyl. The plumule is responsible for making the shoot system. Plumule is responsible for making the shoot system. The shoot is formed from the plumule. The root is formed from the radicle, right? So we need to understand the mechanical damage, okay, and desiccation. What do you mean about mechanical damage? Here, this mechanical damage arises for the seed if the endosperm is not protecting properly. So here, the endosperm structure is a nourishing structure and also it is a protective structure for the seed, like this we told to you. So then what is embryo? The embryo is nothing but the developed seed. Multiple terminology is very, very important. If you're talking about the embryo, is also called as the developed seed. So the embryo or the developed seed is formed from the zygote. The other name of the zygote is a developing seed, right? If you're talking about the nuclear endosperm structure, we are saying for the multinucleated endosperm. What do you mean about multinucleated endosperm? Which we are observing not only in the maize, wheat, and even the rice. In all these grains are not having, only few grains are having many nucleus. That means the reason behind that is there is no cytoplasmic division or cytokinesis after the karyokinesis. After karyokinesis, there is no cytokinesis. That is the reason why many nucleus we are observing in wheat, maize, and rice. If you're talking about cellular endosperm, a structure which is observed in the endosperm that underwent karyokinesis as well as the cytokinesis, that is the reason why it is having a single nucleus, okay, and that we are observing in the case of castor bean. We know very well the biodiesel is prepared from castor bean oil, right? To have a sustainable management, right? So your mind should work in multiple ways. The nuclear endosperm, when we are saying many nucleus, when you are saying cellular endosperm, single nucleus, okay, is very, very important. Is very, very important for making the plant development to happen. Here, first observe the structure which is given in the right hand side. Come along with my explanation so that you will understand what we are conveying to you. We know very well the shoot apex is completely formed by coleoptile. The coleoptile is going to become the shoot apex. That means the mother structure which makes the shoot apex is coleoptile. If we're talking about coleorhiza, it's a structure which is going to make the radicle. The adenine layer is a structure which is rich in protein, responsible for making the embryo to get nourished if it need to develop varieties of structures like enzymes, cell membrane, etc. So this adenine layer is rich in protein. The scutellum, the word we already told to you, okay? In this scutellum structure, A lot of nutritive ingredients are there, which is given by endosperm. Okay. If you're talking about this caryopsis coat, is a coat which is a protective coat of the seed, which is not allowing the microorganism, dust particle getting entry into this particular seed. So for giving the protection, this caryopsis coat is there over the seed cover. In the embryo, we discussed already the cells of the embryo is formed from the zygote. The cells of the embryo is formed from the zygote. This embryo are having n number of mother cell. The mother cell of the embryo is very, very important for making the varieties of plant parts. If we need the various plant parts of various size and shape, the DNA of the mother cell is the brain for controlling the varieties of plant structures. Fertilization process happens in the ovule, which is very, very important for making the zygote. This zygote formation is happening because of the fertilization. This fertilization is also called as syngamy. Like this, we already narrated for you. This fertilization or syngamy happens before embryo formation. Before embryo formation, fertilization happens. Okay. Whereas before fertilization, pre-fertilization happens. That pre-fertilization, fertilization, before embryo formation, we discussed in the first half of this particular chapter when we are narrated in the last class. The structure embryo is having embryonic axis. For every word, hidden sentence are there. Embryonic axis is also called as mother axis, made up of many number of stem cells. Stem cells means not exactly the plant stem cells. Stem cells or mother cells are the part of embryonic axis which makes varieties of plant parts. The varieties of plant parts are formed by the stem cells or the mother cells. The cotyledon structure is very, very important for nourishing the seed to become embryo. Means in the sense, the embryo, the word I am saying for the seed, but that seed, if it is becoming a well-established embryo, then we are calling that seed as a developed seed. Developed seed or established embryo. The word I can't say for immature seed. The immature seed are not having a well-established mother cells. The embryonic root, which is nothing but the radical, which is making the root. The root making mother cell is the part of the radical. The radical of the embryonic axis is arising from hypocotyl structure. Hypocotyl structure. This hypocotyl makes radical makes root. Whereas epicotyl makes the shoot system. Epicotyl makes the shoot system. Cotyledon is very, very important for the plant to develop. The plant to develop in the sense what? By giving the nutrients. Who is giving the nutrients? Cotyledon is giving the nutrients. So cotyledon is not making the nutrients, storing the nutrients, where the cotyledon got the nutrients because of the leaf photosynthesis. Like this, we should not think. We should think stem photosynthesis also. Wherever the greens we are absorbing in the stem, as well as in the leaf, as well as in the flower base, in all this green section, because of the photosynthesis, the starch is formed, which is traveling to cotyledon to get accumulated for future support, in the sense for making the zygote to become embryo and embryo to become a new plant, right? I think so. You understood this message. Now we are coming for the next phase explanation. In the embryonic development, if you are examining seriously how the step-by-step process is observed in terms of the cell duplication, we know very well because of the continuous division, zygote is becoming embryo. Because of the continuous division, zygote is becoming embryo, in the sense only mitosis process is making the zygote to become embryo. Meiosis is not involved at all. So you should be very, very careful. Meiosis is not involved, whereas mitosis alone is involved. So this mitosis process making the zygote to become embryo. We know very well the embryonic growth is basically responsible for making the various plant parts. Like this we already narrated for you. If you're talking about the embryonic growth, in the sense, in the last slide, we discussed hypocotyl becomes radical, radical becomes root. In the last slide we discussed. In the same way, the shoot is coming from the plumule. Plumule is arising from the epicotyl, like this we narrated. So that is the hidden meaning of the embryo growth and differentiation. The embryo growth and differentiation indirectly speaks about the root origination and the shoot origination. In the monocot, the embryo is having single cotyledon. In the dicot, embryo is having two cotyledon. That means the dicot shows maximum growth than the monocot. So if with one cotyledon being a plant, I am making a little biomass, whereas with the two cotyledon, with a huge amount of nutrients, I am making a big plant biomass. The big plant biomass is because of the two cotyledon, right? So this is a message we need to understand. Now, the mitosis process, n number of times, we already narrated for you the somatic cells duplication. If you're talking about somatic cell duplication is happening with the help of mitosis. What do you mean about somatic cell duplication? Somatic cell duplication is nothing but a non-sex cell. It is not your reproductive cell. It is not a sex cell. This somatic cell is symbolized with 2M, having complete set of parental chromosome. This somatic cell is getting duplicated into n number for making the zygote to become embryo. The zygote is becoming embryo because of the maximum duplication of the somatic cells, right? So now, if you're entering into the embryo development stage, one step by step, if you're examining under the high resolution microscope, you can see first is globular, hard, and torpedo, and in the mature stage, this is the way the embryo looks. This I'm saying for angiosperm. The same type of development I should not use for gymnosperm. I should not use for algae. I should not use for ferns. We should have a control over a tongue, how to narrate, where to narrate. Okay, for a specific question. If you're writing irrelevant, they'll give the irrelevant mark. Okay, so you should be very careful with all these things, right? Now, in the functions of the embryo is very, very important for making the plant part, like this we narrated. But the embryo development is seasonal. I'm a plant embryo or a seed. I'll develop only in spring, only in autumn, only in summer, only in winter. Why? Because that environment suits me to become a new plant. Okay, all the environment is not supporting the seed to become a plant. Only certain environment supports. That supporting environment makes the embryo or seed to become a new plant, which is narrated with the germination. I'm a plant seed. I'm germinated. That means I made the root and the shoot. I made the root and the shoot structure, even though it is not a well-established structure, even though it is a preliminary structure, even though it is a ill-defined structure, even though it is not a differentiated structure, not a matter. That structure is very, very important for the plant to become a well-established plant in a specific geographical area to sustain and thrive. For example, I'm a desert plant. I'm showing a different type of embryonic development. A very good example for the desert plant is date. So I'm a plant. I am the part of moderate water area, unlike desert. I am showing different type of embryonic development in the sense the seed germination. we are calling as embryo development at the initial stage. That not happens in some plant instantly. In some plant it happens instantly. In some plant it takes some time for the embryo to become a new plant. Okay, so that condition we are calling as dormancy. So I'm a plant. My seed is dormant. I can't develop. I can't become a new plant. Like this, I am in a dormant stage because the temperature is not suiting me. Okay, the biotic factors are called as the beneficial microorganism. So the beneficial micro we are calling as biotic factors, not the harmful microorganism. Okay, here, whereas the abiotic factors like the humidity, water quality, fertilizer quantity, like this, n number of non-living parameters are called as abiotic factors. So abiotic factors are very, very important, and biotic factors also very, very important for the plant to develop. Like this, if you're saying, we are saying exclusively for the embryo. Internal factor we used to call as intrinsic factor. Internal factor we used to call as intrinsic factor. External factor we used to call as extrinsic factor. The extrinsic factor or external factors are governing the embryo. This is the way you need to become a plant. In this season, you need to develop. In this area, means a specific geographic area, you need to increase your quantity, means in terms of biomass, size and shape. I am a neem plant. I am very big in size. I am very taller, but you're a cactus. You are very short. Like this, different plants are showing the various size and shape. So this correlation, we need to bring it at the embryo level. Why we told this concept? The embryo development of the neem is different from the embryo development of cactus. So the neem is also developing desert. Embryo cactus is also developing desert, but both the plants are showing different type of embryonic development. So this embryonic development indirectly talks about the biotic factors and abiotic factors influences. Biotic factors example, beneficial microorganism. Abiotic factor example is nothing but I told already, not only humidity, not only water quality, not only soil quality. Okay, here we can say the amount of air pressure in the atmosphere. Like so many parameters are coming under abiotic parameters, right? So whereas the biotic factors, I already given the example, microorganism, right? So now we are entering into the next important subtopic called seed. As I already told you, seed is a developed embryo. Okay, this seed being a developed embryo, having a very good set of mother cells, which is in a position to make the various plant parts gradually with the support of biotic and abiotic factors. So we are entering into the seed of various size and shape of various country we are observing in the varieties of geographical area. So here in the date, we can see the Qatar date seed size, length, breadth, width is totally different from the UAE seed of the dates. Okay, like this, what the dates of various Gulf countries are not having the common seed size and shape that differs because of the DNA of the embryonic cell or seed cell. So whenever we are saying the seed is having the embryonic cell DNA which governs the size, shape, color, metabolism, cell activity of the seed mother cell, which is going to make the plant, right? So now we are entering into the next important concept, which is nothing but seed. We already told you the seed coat is very, very important for making the plant to develop. Why the seed coat you are saying specifically? Why not other parts? Okay, if you're looking into this very seriously, we know very well the seed coat is, if it is very rigid, it takes a lot of time for, what? To get germinated. Okay, I am a plant seed. Okay, I am germinating slowly. Why? Because my seed coat is very thick. My seed coat is very thick. That is the reason why I'm germinating very slowly. Okay. If you're talking about the survival, dispersal, and propagation of the plant species. So I am a plant seed. If my seed coat is rigid, it's very thick, of course germination happens slowly, but microorganism entry is terminated, dust entry is terminated, unusual worm entry is terminated. So the plant seed is stopping the worm entry, pest entry, microorganism entry, dust entry. So if the thick wall is existing the seed, the seed dispersal, who is responsible for the seed dispersal? I'm an avian, I'm a bird. When I am eating the fruit with the seed, what I am doing, I take the fruit completely. When I am defecating or excreting, at the time I am laying the seed somewhere else. This is the way the seed is getting spreaded or dispersed from one area to other area. The plant propagation happens because of the many important asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. What do you mean by propagation? The seed movement, pollen grain movement are all called propagation, which mediates the fertilization process to happen. We know very well the seeds are formed in the ovule. The seeds are formed in the ovule, okay, which is because of the zygote. We already told n number of time, right? So when I was like you, I used to write Z and then arrow mark. That means what? It indirectly talks about the zygote is becoming the seed. The other name of the seed is called what? Embryo. Embryo. So I told or E. E means embryo. So always whenever we are studying, so we put the arrow mark and then you can put one alphabets. This alphabet speaks about all the informations about that word, right? The pollen grain is also called as male gametophyte, which is having the male gamete, right? So the pollen grain or male gametophyte is delivering the male gamete. The male gamete, if it is getting delivered, appropriately with the help of the pollen tube entry into the ovule, the pollen tube entry into the ovule of the female reproductive system, okay, makes the male gamete to get interacted with the egg cell. If the male gamete is getting interaction to the egg cell or male sex cell or male reproductive cell, the male sex cell or male reproductive cell, after interacting with the egg cell, it makes zygote. It makes zygote, which is nothing but a developing embryo. So the zygote or developing embryo is obtained because of the male sex cell fusion along with the female sex cell or egg cell, so that you are getting zygote. In the seed structure, we are observing the seed coat, which is holding the water over the surface to bring the germination at the faster level. So the water holding capacity of the seed coat, the water holding capacity of the seed coat denotes hydrophilicity. I am a coat. I am bearing the water droplets. For what for? To support the seed cell metabolism. If the seed cell should undergo the metabolism more appropriately, I need the water. The water is exactly getting adhered to the seed coat. Then what will happen? The germination happens very nicely, right? The seed coat is the protective coat that we already narrated. It stops the mechanical damage, microorganism entry, and desiccation means breakage. Desiccation, okay, breakage, okay, or damage. Yeah, the embryo is a developing plant that grows into a new individual, right? So if you're talking about in this phase, very seriously, if you're looking into the structure, we narrated in this picture the dicot and monocot in the last slide itself. Okay, for the dicot, very good example is bean. The very good example for the monocot is wheat, right? The wheat is very, very important for making the monocot population size, Why? Because we know very well the wheat grows very faster. At the same time, when you are observing both these plants requires water much more. The dicot and monocot, what we shown in the picture, the bean and the wheat requires water much more. Water much more. So can you give the example for the desert dicot and desert monocot like this in the CBSE board exam? They will ask. We should be very careful. Okay, hydrophytic plants requires maximum water. Very good example is bean and wheat, but not the date plant, right? So when we are talking about the pollen grain or male gametophyte, in the last class, I told the other word of the pollen grain is also called as microspore. So microspore, the word denotes the other term for the pollen grain. Pollen grain also called as microspore. This pollen grain or microspore is formed from spore mother cell of the anther. So spore mother cell of the anther is responsible for making the microspore or pollen grain. This microspore is and the egg cell. Like this, we should not say this microspore is making the male gamete. Is making the male gamete. This male gamete on fusion of the egg cell makes zygote. That we told in the last biology class in the first session, right? So now, if you're talking about the next important segment, the types of the seed. In the types of the seed, the monocotyledon seed is having a single cotyledon, like this we already narrated for you, right? This seed basically is monocotyledon seed. We are observing the case of grass. We are observing the case of grass. So in the grass, the one when you are saying it keeps growing. Okay, if you're talking about the grass, we know very well the grassivorous animal. Very good example of herbivorous. When these cattle are eating this grass steps, the grass is keeping on growing. This is because of the continuous nutrition circulation by the single cotyledon of the monocot plant. So sometimes they will say monocot, sometimes they will say monocotyledon plant. Okay, so we should be very careful with all this explanation. I think so. You understood this information in detail, right? Now we are coming for the dicot seed having two cotyledon in it. This two cotyledon, the word I am saying for the dicot. This dicot example, not only bean pea and even sunflower. In all these things, if you're observing very sharply, very sharply, instead of saying these three, they'll say herb, shrub, tree. Okay, if you're talking about, we won't say sunflower tree, we won't say sunflower tree, we won't say pea tree, we won't say bean tree. The bean is a herb, the garden pea is a climber, the sunflower is a shrub. Shrub means will be growing to this height, to your height. Who is growing? The sunflower is growing. So we are saying shrub. So shrub, the word I'm using for the sunflower, right? So in the CBSE board exam, they will ask you to give the example, the shrub, okay, dicotyledon, okay, and then they will ask climber dicotyledon. So whenever they're asking the twisted question, you should be in a position to say the answer. They won't discuss in detail about dicot seed, nothing, right? So they will ask the twisted question, be very careful, right? The mature ovary or the fruit, is having the ovary wall, is also called as fruit wall. Again back, I'm repeating, the ovary wall is also called as fruit wall. This ovary wall is also called as fruit wall. Like this, we can say, if the ovary wall is completely developed, so instead of that, we can say developed ovary wall is also called as fruit wall, which is not allowing the fruit to get damaged very faster. Okay, here we know very well the ripening process makes the fruit to become very weaker, right? So it will be damaged very fast by the microorganisms. That concept we'll discuss in the later section. But in this place, the mature ovary means in the sense not representing Fruits are mature ovary, not representing ripened fruit. Okay, be very careful. Mature ovary, once it is formed, it is unripened. Okay, it will take some time to become ripened. So don't get confused. Mature ovary means ripened fruit. No, right? So mature ovary will undergo ripening process. Then it get ripened. Once it is getting ripened, okay, because of the maximum amount of ethylene production. So maximum amount of ethylene production making the particular ovary or fruit to become ripened fruit. Okay, we know very well the seed dispersal is taken care by the avians. I already had given one example. In addition to this, if you're going to any one hill station, you can see certain fruits will burst and disperse the seed without the help of avians. We don't want avians. We don't want insect. We don't want anyone. Then how you'll burst on your own? Can you give an example? Yes, of course. Cotton plant. My name is a cotton plant. I am going to burst and disperse the seed. Okay, I don't want anyone for my seed dispersal like this. Who is saying? Cotton plant is saying. So we should be very careful when we are saying the agents required for seed dispersal. The concept is not applicable for the cotton plant. Okay, cotton tree disperse the seed by bursting. Okay, now if you are going to the next important terminology, okay, what important terminology in terms of the monocot and dicot, endodermis, epidermis, okay, means if you're talking about monocot, dicot, endodermis, epidermis, it indicates the innermost layer and outermost layer, innermost layer and outermost layer. So the innermost layer and outermost layer we are calling as epidermis and endodermis. So this epidermis and endodermis making the seed to develop more faster. Okay. Now, in the formation of the fruit, once the fruit, when okay, I am a board student, when I am preparing for my exam, by seeing the apple, immediately what should supposed to come? False fruit. So what do you mean about false fruit? I'm a plant. I am making the fruit without fertilization. That is why my name is called false fruit. I'm apple fruit. I'm a false fruit. Okay. So that means fertilization is not mandatory for making the apple fruit. So one by one we'll discuss in detail. So the picture what we given here is apple. The apple is having the false seed. Okay. The apple fruit is called false fruit. Okay. Why it is called false fruit, we'll discuss in detail. Okay, your mind should work in many ways. Okay, what is this apple? It is a what fruit it is exactly? False fruit. Why it is called false fruit? Okay, we need to ask so many questions. One by one we'll discuss. Male gamete and female gamete fusion makes zygote. This zygote becomes embryo. We know very well. This embryo is going to become a new plant, right? So the fruits are categorized into many variety based on this. After some time, I am going to ask Christine, okay, Zoom pool will be displayed for everyone for asking the question. If you're talking about the simple fruit, okay, that is having only a single ovary, okay, the grapes, tomato, and cherries. See, when you are seeing each and every concept, just you should not read the sentence. What is a hidden sentence? Tomato, juicy fruit, cherry, juicy, grapes, juicy. All this juicy, we used to call this drupe fruit. What is this? Drupe fruit. Okay. Instead of saying gamete, what I told you, okay, sometimes they will say sex cell, sometimes they will say reproductive cell. Okay. Sometimes instead of saying the fruit wall, I'll say developed ovary wall. Okay. So we need to bring multiple terminology, then only we can play the game in the board exam. Okay, we are not here for reading what is there in the PPT, right? Okay, here the single ovary is also called as monocarpal. We need to understand monocarpal, the word denotes single ovary, right? The monocarpal is nothing but a single female reproductive organ, okay, or single pistil. So either you call as pistil or carpal, which is having a single ovary and this ovary of the simple fruit, all are not called as drupe. The example what they given, there is drupe, juicy fruit, right? Now we are coming for aggregate fruit having many ovary in it. Example, strawberry, raspberry. Okay, so when my teacher teaches, okay, I will very, when he's saying strawberry, raspberry, gooseberry, gooseberry, all the berries I'll bring him in mind. Blackberry, okay, like this, all the fruits I'll bring in my mind and I'll correlate with all the fruits. Okay, simply, okay, this guy is teaching strawberry, raspberry. Okay, any other berry I can bring. Okay, so like this, you need to think in many ways. Multiple ovaries, that means multiple carpal. The hidden meaning is multiple carpal. Multiple carpal means multiple female reproductive organ, or or multiple pistil. Like this, you need to understand. The multiple fruit, the word I am saying for pineapple or fig fruit. This pineapple and fig fruit are having the ovaries of multiple fruit. So this is closely packed. This is closely packed. Okay, here in this case, it is not closely packed, right? So be very careful while understanding all this information. Okay. So now, if you're talking about the part of the fruits, in the part of the fruits, the pericarp, the pericarp, the word where we are saying exactly. So the pericarp is nothing but persistent endosperm, right? So we know very well in the fruit, the exocarp is outermost and the middle one is mesocarp and the innermost is nothing but the endocarp. So the innermost endocarp, okay, and the middle mesocarp, and then I told about exocarp, and then I told about the endocarp, 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 mesocarp, exocarp. Like these three carps are present. So we need to understand basically the exocarp is nothing but the fruit outer cover. Mesocarp is nothing but the middle, and endocarp is the innermost one, right? So this is hibiscus, a bisexual flower. By seeing the picture, we need to bring everything. This is a flower has only one reproductive organ or two reproductive organ. Of course, it has two reproductive organ. One is called the male reproductive organ, another is called female reproductive organ. Instead of saying like this, we can say stamen and pistil. Okay, stamen and pistil. Okay, it has both male and female reproductive organ. Instead of saying like this, you use the word it has both stamen and pistil. Pistil denotes female reproductive system. Stamen denotes male reproductive system. So we know very well in the fertilization process, once a zygote is formed, in the fertilization process, once the zygote is formed, it is going to become the seed. This seed is nothing but the embryo. Like this, we already narrated for you. The seed development process happening from the zygote in the post-fertilization process. In the post-fertilization process, the seed development is happening from the zygote. So the seed is nothing but the developed embryo, right? The endosperm persists in a few plants. Okay, pericarp, the word we are saying. Okay, the pericarp is nothing but the outermost carp. Okay, here this pericarp we are saying is having the three more layers. One is exocarp, mesocarp, and then the endocarp. All the three things are the part of pericarp. So the endosperm, with some seed it persists, with some seed it won't persist, right? Okay, one by one we'll discuss in detail furthermore, right? In this particular phase, we discuss so many number of information. Okay. Any one of you are having any doubt in the case of Q and A section, please let me know so that what will explain the things. Okay, you are having questionnaire session at some time, right? So now we are entering into apomixis. Before entering into apomixis, let me discuss some few board questions. Okay, so that what you will understand exactly. Okay, in this concept, basically, in which of the apomixis the embryo develops from the nuclear cell? Embryo develops from nuclear cell. So any one of you can say this information. Okay, again back for all these questions. Okay, we are going to discuss in detail. how the apomixis works. Okay, so any one of you can say the message. Any one of you can say the message. So the answer is basically the apospory involves the development of embryo from nuclear cells. So these nuclear cells we'll discuss into time, right? If you're talking about uh, long ago in the last class, we already narrated the concept for you is inside the ovary, along with the ovule, the nuclear structure is present. This nuclear structure, is making the embryo, right? Okay, this nuclear is a nourishing structure, which we already narrated in the last class. This nuclear cell is present along with the ovule. Is present along with the ovule. Ovule is the part of the ovary. Ovule is a part of the ovary, right? Apospory. What is this? Apospory denotes the formation of the embryo, right? Okay, from the nuclear cells. From the nuclear cells. That means the male gamete and female gamete is not getting involved. Is not getting involved. Polyembryony means many embryo. Polyembryony means many embryo, right? So parthenogenesis means formation of the zygote without the help of the parthenogenesis is nothing but a formation of the zygote without the help of the male gamete. With the help of the male gamete. Can you give an example for the parthenogenesis? I can say in animal. Can you say in animal parthenogenesis? We are discussing plant. Then why you are saying for animal? Why? Because both the questions will come in the exam, in the CBSE board exam. Yeah, female honeybee egg develops directly into new honeybee. This process denotes parthenogenesis process. Parthenogenesis process, right? So we should be very careful when in choosing all these things. Apospory denotes the embryo development from nuclear cells, right? So now, if you are entering into furthermore, many questions we'll discuss on the way in the center of each and every session, right? Polyembryony refers to any one of you in this class can say the message. So I am having the answer with me because we prepared the questions, but you should know the multi-embryo from a single fertilized egg. Okay, multi-embryo from different fertilized egg. Okay, and if you're talking about the seed without fertilization, seed with reduced endosperm. So what is polyembryony? Okay, any one of you can say the answer in this place. So any one of you can say the answer in this place. The answer is polyembryony is a phenomena formed from a single fertilized egg. Okay, single fertilized egg. Single fertilized egg. Many people will think many egg is required for making many embryos. No, single fertilized egg is enough. Okay, single fertilized egg is enough to make the many embryo, right? So now here polyembryony means many embryo. Polyembryony means many embryo. So the polyembryony means many seed like this. We are saying, okay, can you give example dragon fruit? So okay, here in this year, before 2 years back, this question was asked in the board exam. In the upcoming year, in 2024, they'll be asking you the example for polyembryony, lemon seed, orange seed. Okay, like this, we need to give the examples for the polyembryony if they're asking subjective question, right? Okay, so instead of saying the word fertilized egg, they'll use the word fused egg. So single fertilized egg, what is the meaning of single fertilized egg? Zygote. The other name of the single fertilized egg is zygote. The other name of single fertilized egg is zygote. Sometimes they'll say zygote, sometimes they'll say single fertilized egg, sometimes they'll say fused egg, sometimes they will say developing embryo. So multiple terms they will use. Okay, they won't use the word directly the zygote. See how nicely they are using the multiple terms in such a way you will get confused If you have the clarity, definitely you will choose. Okay, but if you're not having the clarity in using the multiple terms, you'll be in problem. So developing embryo, not developed embryo, developing embryo or zygote or fused egg or single fertilized egg. These many number of terms I can use for single fertilized egg. Okay. Now, if you're talking about instead of using this word endosperm, okay, what they will do in the next upcoming board exam, they will use 3N. They will use 2N here. Okay, instead of this, they will say 2N here. So they won't use the direct word. Single fertilized egg will be replaced by 2N. Different fertilized egg replaced with 2N. Endosperm is replaced with 3N, right? N number of time we told 2N is nothing but a diploid cell having complete set of parental chromosome. Complete set of parental chromosome we are observing in 2N. The 3N is having one chromosome number, not set. One chromosome number, not set. Okay, two parental chromosome. Okay, and one number of parental chromosome in extra. That condition we are calling as triploid, the word I am using for endosperm. Sometimes they will say diploid, sometimes they will say 2N, sometimes they will say fused egg, sometimes they will say fertilized egg, sometimes they will say developing embryo, sometimes they will say zygote. They will use multiple terms. We should be careful. We should be careful in choosing all those things, right? And now, be very careful, or else the board exam questions are a little tricky. So what is the chance for the polyembryo in the plant? So this question I am giving for all the students to narrate in due time. Reduced chance of survival of offspring, decreased genetic diversity. The indirectly we are talking variation. Variation. How many varieties of jasmine, if you're going to India, specifically in UP, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, you can see so many varieties and size and shape of the jasmine, right? Genetic diversity, right? Okay, different varieties of coconuts we are observing, different varieties of apple we are observing, right? So genetic diversity means variation, okay? The chance of survival of the offspring, right? So increased genetic diversity among the offspring, adaptation of the various environment. All the four options are having similarity. All the four options are having the similarity, okay, but which is having the higher probability, okay, here leads to genetic diversity. That is why what I emphasize genetic diversity much more, right, among the polyembryo, right? So what we need to understand basically the genetic diversity. The advantage of the polyembryonian plant is decreased genetic diversity. Why? We need less variation. Yes, of course, we need less variation in certain cases. The reason is I need a pure superior breed for many generation. For example, we found out custard apple of the South Africa is quite amazing in curing the stomach cancer. So I need that South African custard apple in the same way how I obtained from South Africa now for many generation. So I can bring the polyembryonic condition here for that particular plant for many generation by using different type of genetic engineering techniques. Okay, so that what the same parental character will be kept without any disturbances. That is very, very important. Why? Because we found out the anti-cancer components are quite rich in custard apple of South Africa, right? So in that case, the polyembryonic condition is applicable. Yes, of course, I can bring in the lab the polyembryonic condition even if you plants are not having by choosing the genetic engineering techniques, right? Be very careful how they will ask. See, this year they asked genetic diversity. So genetic diversity means gene variation. Okay, polyembryo means many embryo, right? Now we are entering into the question number 4. Okay, in the question number 4, which part of the ovule give rises to embryo in apomixis? Now only we finished. Now only we spoken. What we spoken? If you're talking about the egg cells, synergites, nuclear antibodies. Nuclear cell is correct answer or not? Okay, nuclear cells are very very important for making the what for making the embryo, right? That we discussed in apostrophe already, right? So we should be very careful in saying all this information, right? So now, any one of you are having any doubt, please let me know. I'm there with you to help you out, right? So any one of you are having any doubt? Okay. Now, um, I think so. You all enjoyed this information. So we'll be entering into the Q&A section after some time. I'll ask questions. Okay, what we spoken as of now, what we narrated as of now. In this case of apomixis concept, the last segment of this particular chapter, subtopic, that we are going to discuss in detail. Right? Okay. I will be asking a lot of questions to you in between the session. Okay, you speak along with me. And if you're not having clarity, please ask me to repeat the concept and ask me to explain the questions what we discussed in detail, right? So this apomixis is a type of asexual reproduction. Why we need to choose asexual reproduction? Why? Because we can escape from so many parameters like biotic and abiotic factors that we told to you long back. So in this asexual reproduction, without the help of fertilization, we can get the particular zygote, right? So ovules develops into seed without the fusion of male and female gamete, right? So you know very well the genetical identical offsprings we'll be getting, right? So all these informations are already there in the slide. Okay. Then what special information when you're coming to go to university team, we are going to explain in detail. The reason behind that is the female gamete, which is nothing but an egg or a female sex cell, which is going to become zygote, which is a information given for one more cancer. But if I need to explain the same thing for 3 marks, I need to narrate in detail in which way the egg, if it is getting arrested, the egg, if it is getting arrested in meiosis process and mitosis process, metaphase. Arrest in metaphase of the meiosis and mitosis, which makes this haploid egg into diploid zygote. So this haploid egg will become diploid egg, and that diploid egg slowly get differentiated into zygote. Okay, this is the concept you need to understand. One more time I'll repeat, you not to worry, calmly listen to me, right? Here, if you're talking about the zygote, which is how it is formed, we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, without the help of the male gamete, the egg, which is a single N, having half of the parental chromosome. This egg having half of the parental chromosome, which is a haploid sex cell or haploid reproductive cell of the female, which on interaction with the male gamete, okay, will give zygote. But in this case, it is not happening. So then how zygote formation is happening? If you're looking into this very seriously, this egg cells basically, after getting arrest in metaphase. What do you mean about metaphase? It is a part of the cytokinesis. What do you mean about cytokinesis? No, cytokinesis is cytoplasmic division. No, in that it is not getting involved. Karyokinesis process. Karyokinesis process is a process, okay, where metaphase is happening. Because of the metaphase, the egg formation happens. But if the metaphase is getting arrested, I'm an egg. If I'm undergoing metaphase of the karyokinesis, at that time I am not moving, I am not crossing metaphase. If I'm not crossing metaphase of the karyokinesis of the mitosis, then what will happen? This haploid egg will become diploid egg. This haploid egg becomes diploid egg. This haploid egg becomes diploid egg because of the arresting metaphase. Okay, that metaphase is getting arrested where exactly? In karyokinesis of mitosis process. So in karyokinesis of mitosis process, if metaphase is getting arrested, then the haploid egg is going to become diploid egg. So what do you mean about diploid egg? The diploid egg having complete set of parallel chromosome, unlike a haploid egg. The egg which is participating in sexual reproduction is haploid egg, whereas the egg which is participating in this apomixis process is a diploid egg. How come this diploid egg is formed? They're not narrated in detail. They're given the answer, but with unclarity. Okay, there is no clarity in the CBSE textbook. So, but they'll ask the question. Why? Because they detail in the exercise question of the CBSE textbook. So we should be very careful in conveying the message when they're asking the board exam. I am the egg. I am undergoing mitosis, karyokinesis. At the time, I'm getting retardation in the metaphase. As a result, this egg is becoming diploid. This diploid egg is formed from haploid egg. Okay, and this diploid egg is going to become zygote directly. So this is the concept we need to understand in the case of apomixis process or polyembryony, right? So now, if we're talking about the next important concept in the apomixis is apospory. We told n number of time to you the nuclear cells of the embryo, nuclear cells of the embryo, or we should suppose say nuclear cells of the ovule. So nuclear cells of the ovule is going to become the embryo in a process called apospory. This process is a type of apomixis. It's a type of apomixis. That means all apomixis are not apospory. All apospory is not a apomixis. Be very careful when you are narrating. Diplospory. As I already told you, the egg which is, okay, in the last slide I explained, this is a diploid egg which is going to become a zygote. That is diplospory, right? It's typically formed in the Diplosporis species. Okay, so in both this instance, in both this concept, okay, we are not observing the male gamete participation in apospory as well as in Diplospory. We are not observing the male gamete participation, right? So here, I think so. You got this message. Now, if you're talking about the polyembryonic stage or mini embryo formation stage, okay, here a single fertilized egg give rises to the multiple embryo, right? So this we discussed in the MCQ. Right? And then we need to know the zygote division is very, very important for making the embryo formation. The embryo formation from the zygote is because of the multiple division, right? The polyembryony is observed in citrus fruit. Citrus fruit, very good example is lemon, orange, etc. And pine tree. In all these things, we are observing the polyembryonic stage, right? So you know very well, the root is formed from n number of time. We already told you the radical is a mother cell. Radical is a mother cell. No, radical has many number of mother cell, which is going to make the root, right? And this radical is arising from the embryo, right? This is nothing but the shoot, which is arising from the plumule. The plumule is having a many number of mother cells. Plumule is having many number of mother cell for making the shoot system, right? So the root is formed from radical and the shoot is formed from the plumule. Like this, we need to understand in detail, right? Now, any one of you are having any doubt, please let me know. I'm there to help you. Now, the advantages of the polyembryony, the chance of survival for at least one of the embryo is much more. The chance for survival is much more. At least one embryo will be surviving very nicely. So, genetic diversity, among the multiple embryo, which is the advantage for adapting for different environment. Different environment. Sometime I'm a plant seed. I need to encounter winter. Sometime I need to encounter summer. Sometime I need to encounter the spring atom. So depending upon the various climatic condition, I need to sustain, I need to thrive. For that, I need a special type of protein, which is formed by different type of embryo. All the credentials are not there with all the embryo. All the credentials are not there with all the embryo. There is a message we need to understand, right? All the embryonic tissues, okay, are not having all the credentials, right? So now we are entering into the next major concept. In the endosperm formation, we discussed many number of information for you, right? So let me start discussing some few questions. Before that, we'll go for worked examples solving. Here, two different mechanism of apomixis, just only we narrated for you. Okay, parthenogenesis. The egg cell undergoes embryonic development without being fertilized by pollen grain. So here that means the pollen grain is not giving the male gamete for making the new zygote, right? We know very well the male gamete and female gamete fusion makes zygote. Embryo grows into the serum. Embryo develops into the serum. The seed germinates and becomes a new plant. Okay, the new plant origination from the seed is happening in the normal climatic condition, not in the adverse climatic condition. So this concept we already narrated for you in detail. There is no involvement of male sex cell. There is no involvement of male sex cell. Like this we already narrated for you. And in addition to this, what else we should know in the type of apomixis process? There is nothing but nuclear embryony. So this nuclear embryony, what it exactly explains, the nuclear cells are mainly responsible for making the embryo. These two sentence, how they're asking, okay, monospory, mono, another is diplo. Monosporic, apospory, diplospory. So this we already discussed in the case of question pattern, monospory and apospory question we discussed, right? This, what is the difference between monospory and apospory? Monospory means what? Haploid, and diplospory means haploid. Like this we already narrated for you, right? So any one of you are having any doubt in this place, please let me know. So again back I'm repeating. Okay, this is mono. This is nothing but what? Diplo. This monosporic also we can call as aposporic, diplosporic, like this we discussed, okay, right? So in this case, haploid cell is a mother cell, diploid cell is a mother cell. This the haploid cell and diploid cell, we already told you, it is represented as single N. It is represented as 2N. This haploid cell having half of the parental chromosome, having complete set of parental chromosome, like this we already narrated. The same thing when we are repeating again back, we are saying in a short form for you for a better understanding. So I'm a student. So when I was having the exam, so what I will do in the NCR textbook, okay, in the left hand side and right hand side, white column, empty space will be there. So this will say everything for me. This will say everything for me. This is called shorthand practice. Shorthand practice. Okay, off, haploid cell, symbolized with N, complete, diploid cell, symbolized with 2N. So like this, what we need to do is we need to take the short notes when we are studying. This is the other way of learning. Discuss the potential application of agriculture in apomixis. Okay. So these are the questions just randomly not taken anywhere from any textbook. We always used to choose one question from NCERT exemplar, one question from CBSE textbook, exercise questions, one question will be taken from the board paper, one question will be taken from the hard questions given by the CBSE board. Okay, one question will be taken from the practical portions. multiple varieties of questions we are exposing to you in such a way you will win the board exam with very good marks. For that only we are bringing the difficult question in the worked example, not the easy questions. Okay, clonal propagation. What do you mean about clonal propagation? Means apomixis allows the production of genetically identical plants from the seed, right? So retention of desirable trait. Okay, so here basically, you know very well in India, uh, International Agriculture Research Institute is totally different from India Agriculture Research Institute. This India Agriculture Research Institute, why? Because both are standing for I. That is why what I narrated. Okay, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, IARI. So this is having the collection of classic set of seeds, have the potential to grow in a sustainable situation. Like, for example, okay, here you know very well the sargassum. It's a plant which grows in a subarid area, means with less water, it manages and grows very nicely. Those genes are taken to the high quality grains for better development, right? So for this, we are using the different seeds gene content. Okay, so that is maintained as a seed bank. So the seed bank is maintained in International Agriculture Research Institute for bringing the same variety for many generation, right? To give the quality products of the plant. Okay, now hybrid fixation. Hybrid vigar, it is having a lot of hidden meaning. Hybrid vigar is also called a superior breed. Hybrid vigar is also called a superior breed. Okay, two distinct parent can be retained in apomictic seed. What is two distinct parent? Superior breed. Okay, the male plant as well as female plant are having a classic quality. What do you mean about classic quality? I'm not understanding. Okay, disease resistance capacity. What do you mean about disease resistance capacity? Microorganism resistance capacity. Again, back what microorganism resistance capacity? Bacteria resistant capacity. Virus resistant capacity. Again, back what bacteria? Agrobacterium resistant capacity. Army bollworm. Okay, worm resistance capacity. So those capacity rich few plants or exist in the nature which won't be invaded very easily by the microbes and insects. So those plant variety seeds are preserved and taken into the field for generating many number of plants for many geographical area support, so that what the poverty will be reduced. By keeping all this information, what they are doing is they are conserving the superior breed. Whenever they are crossing, they are taking the high quality male, high quality female, and then they are crossing, and then they are getting high quality variety, right? So here, if you're talking about the bypassing incompatibility, hybridization can be hindered by by reproductive barriers between the species or a variety. So generate hybrids without worrying about pollen compatibility. What do you mean about compatibility? We know very well the pollen grain, if it is having a fixing structure along with the stigma, that is called compatibility. Okay. See, for example, this software will work in this particular Windows 10, Windows 8. This particular software will not work with the Windows 7, Windows 5. So like this, what some software we can run in one generation of the computer, whereas the same software we can't run in the other generation of the computer. In the same way, certain pollen grains will be in a position to get adhered to the stigma, but not all pollen grain. So that means the pollen grain is a part of the male reproductive system, whereas the stigma is a part of female reproductive system. The pollen grain attachment to the stigma is possible if it is having the structural compatibility or structural equalization, then it can fit appropriately, or else it won't fit. Okay, then there is no chance for the pollination success. So the pollination success is mandatory for bringing the fertilization. If the fertilization is very good, then only the zygote formation happens. So here, this type of issue is not there if we are going for apomictic method of agriculture, apomictic type of agriculture. These are all the expectation of the board evaluators, right? So we should be very careful with all these things, right? I think so. You all got this message. Now, any one of you or having any doubt in this place, please let me know. I am there with you to help you. So I think so. No one is having the doubt. So we'll be entering into the other subject. See, we already given the related videos for you. You can balance your equation doubts with these videos whenever you're having free time. Questions we already discussed, but still furthermore we'll discuss in detail, right? If you're talking about which of the following is an example of the plant exhibiting apomixis: apple tree, wheat plant, strawberry, tomato plant. We already told the apomixis concept for you. Any one of you can say the answer for this. The answer is exactly the strawberry plant. Okay, the strawberry is having. So when you're seeing the strawberry, okay, how your mind should work. Apple is having the seed inside in it. Wheat is itself a seed when you're taking the grains. When you are taking the strawberry seeds are outside the fruit. Can you see this? The seeds are outside the fruit. Outside the fruit. That means what? That means what? Here in the strawberry plant, the ovules are there in the ovary wall. Ovules are there in the ovary wall, not exactly fixed in the center of the ovary. Okay, but that is not the case in apple. In apple fruit, the seed is center. In the apple fruit, we are observing seed in the center location, right? Okay, whereas in strawberry, the seed is at the outer surface of the fruit, right? So that is because of the apomixis. Apomixis. What is apomixis? I already told you many varieties of apomixis, right? So strawberry is the outcome of apomixis. Tomato seed is not the outcome of apomixis, right? So here sometimes they will ask botanical name, sometimes they will ask the plant name. We should be competent enough to choose the question, right? So now we are entering into the next important. Solving the question is very important. With multiple terminology, which process involves the fusion of male and female gamete in plants? Okay, syngamy, like this, many people are saying. Okay, in Q&A session, the syngamy is also called as fertilization process. Polyembryony, the word we know very well. Apomixis, you know very well. Parthenogenesis also, we know very well, right? So, parthenogenesis, now only we discussed 30 minutes back. Okay, that okay, I can say for female parthenogenesis. Okay, here in this case, the for the animals also I can say, for plant also I can say. For animal, I already had given the example. The drones, queen bee, and the worker. Three type of honeybees are there. In these three type of honeybees, if you're talking about the worker, is an outcome of parthenogenesis. Turkey bird is an outcome of parthenogenesis. That means male gamete is not involved. Turkey bird is formed without the help of male gamete. Okay, and the honeybee I already given the example. So plant examples, animal examples, both we need to keep in our mind, right? So syngamy is also called as fertilization process, right? So here bringing multiple terminology is very important, and now we are coming for the next important segment is in polyembryony, multiple embryos arises from a, we discussed it many number of times, single fertilized ovary or fertilized ovary means multiple embryo arises from a single egg, right? Multiple embryo arises from single egg. So instead of using the word multiple embryo arises from the single egg is the answer, that is okay. But this antipodals, instead of using the word antipodals, what they will use? For example, in the upcoming year, okay, they will change the word. Okay, this antipodal is a cell, haploid cell, which is present in the chalaza point of the ovary. The chalaza point of the ovary. This antipodal is a haploid cell, right? This nuclear cell is a diploid cell. This nuclear cell, a diploid cell, which is a part of the ovule, which is going to become an embryo if it is an apoplectic embryo, right? So fertilized or fused, unfertilized or unfused egg. Okay, like this is what we can say. The Z, you know very well, fertilization. Okay, fertilization. Okay, two words we know very well, right? How many antipodals are present in all the plant in a female embryo? Means three antipodals are present in all the plants. Three antipodals are present in chalaza. Where it is present in the chalaza of what? Ovary. Where is the ovary? In the female reproductive system. What do you mean about female reproductive system? Carpel. What is the other name of carpel? Pistil. So in pistil or carpel, chalaza is present, which is having the three antipodals, which is worthless. I can't do anything. I'll remain as mum. I'll die. Like this, who is saying? Antipodal is saying. That means antipodals is not participating in fertilization. Antipodal is not required for embryo formation. Antipodal is not required for plant formation. Only egg is required. Only egg is required. Nucellar is present where? Along the ovule. Antipodal is present where? In the ovule. One segment of the ovule is called what? Chalaza. One segment of the ovule is called chalaza. In the ovule, at the chalaza, three antipodals are present. These three antipodals are worthless. Whereas nucellus is worthful. It nourishes the ovule. It nourishes the developing zygote. Okay, like this we should not say. It nourishes only the ovule. We should have the control over the tongue. Okay, then who is nourishing the zygote? Endosperm. Who is nourishing the ovule? Nucellar. Instead of saying the word nucellar, what I can say, I can use a word called microsporangium. The word I can say no. Then what else I can say? Megasporangium. Megasporangium, the word I can say for ovule. Ovule is also called as not microsporangium, megasporangium. The word I can say for ovule, right? So we should be very careful in doing all these things, right? The same question they will use with different terms. Okay, antipodals which are present in the chalaza point of the ovule of the ovary. Inside the ovary, ovule is present. Inside the ovule, chalaza point is present. Inside the chalaza point, antipodals are present, which is worthless for the plant in any situation. Okay, in all the situation, antipodals are worthless. Nucellar is worthful for making the ovule development to happen. The other name of the ovule is also called as microsporangium. Right? So we should be very careful in handling all these things. Okay, then only what we can make up many things, right? Now, if you're talking about the next important segment where you are observing, I think so. Any one of you are having any doubt in the case of Q&R session, please let me know. In addition to all these things, what we'll be doing is we'll be solving some questions, Q&N section. Okay, can we go with the Q&N section, right? So now, so I'll be releasing the questions for you. Okay, I think so. You all can see the screen here. So, which unique plant includes a species like Rafflesia, okay, known for producing the largest flower in the world? Okay, so I am launching the question. So I give the time for all these things. So here I'll be giving only 10 seconds for you. I think so. You all can see the poll, right? So how many students conveyed the answer for this? So I think so. No one voted. Okay, my dear students, please answer for this. The answer is Rafflesia. The answer is Rafflesia, the largest flower in the world, right? So we given some time. Within 20 seconds or 30 seconds, we should supposed to say the answer, right? If it is mathematical biology, you can take some time. So now I am going for the next important question. Here is the next poll is, can you go for the next poll? Okay, I'm launching the next poll for all of you. Please give the answer for this. I'll be giving 30 seconds for you. Can be increased to 40 seconds. Which is a specialized pollination mechanism in orchid where insects are trapped and released after pollination called? Okay, the entire chapter we have finished and we are solving the questions of the previous board paper so that you will get maximum marks, right? The answer, some students told autogamy. Autogamy is nothing but the pollination in the same flower which can't be accepted. Good. One student responded. His name is Mamta. Mamta student is one of the best student who responds very faster. Autogamy is not the correct answer. I'll be saying the answer for you. There is nothing but, okay, here the answer is Myrmecophily, which is nothing but the ant is interacting. The ant is interacting? No. Then pseudocopulation is the correct answer. Pseudocopulation. Why? Because the male will come and will think, the female will come and will think male reproductive structure. The orchid plant looks like a opposite sex reproductive structure and it go for false sexual reproduction, but that is not the real insect reproductive structure. So that is the reason why we given the word pseudocopulation. Pseudocopulation denotes false copulation. False copulation. So I'm ending the poll. The answer is pseudocopulation, right? So now I'm coming for the here we can share the results also to the concerned team, right? I'm sharing and I'm stop sharing it. So I'm releasing the next poll for you is so in some species, plant species, flower changes their sex during their lifetime. What is the phenomena called? See, listen, we used to call this type of male structure is changed to female structure. I am saying in terms of reproduction potential. A male reproductive structure is changed to female reproductive structure. Female reproductive structure is changed to male reproductive structure. So I already launched it for you all for saying the answer. Here, hermaphroditism is a wrong answer. Why? Because it indicates a plant flower has both male and female reproductive organ. Okay, the answer is dichogamy. Okay, this dichogamy is nothing but conversion of male to female, female to male. Okay, I'm ending the pool. Now I'm coming for the next important question. I'm sharing the results. Now we are coming for the next important question is, we'll go for the fourth question. I'm launching the question. All of you be ready. Which plant hormone is responsible for the abscission of the flower and leaves? Okay. So any one of you can say this information. So we know very well abscission means senescence, shedding, aging. Okay, I reached the end of my life. Okay, like this, the few plant flowers and leaves are saying the answer is ethylene. The answer is ethylene. The answer is ethylene is the correct answer. So very good. One student, okay, here Nikhil Sharma told very nicely the answer ethylene. Good student. Out of 200. Very good. So now I'm coming for, I'm sharing the credit goes to Nikhil Sharma. Now I am going for the next important question. So be ready for the fifth question. So you should ask options. Okay, here why it is not correct. Okay, here I am launching the next question. What is the term for the phenomena in which certain flowers produces heat to attract pollinators, such as in the case of some Araceae species? See, Fabaceae, Solanaceae, Araceae, like this. ACA means that denotes a family name of the plant, right? So this Araceae, okay, produces heat to attract the pollinators. Okay, I am a pollinator, I'm an insect. If I need to do the pollination, I'll be using certain things. Yes, of course, very good. One of the student told thermogenesis. Heat is very, very important. The thermo means heat. Okay, very classic correlation, and giving the correct answer is the great credential of one child. Good. Photoperiodism denotes what? I'm a plant. I'll be growing very nicely depending upon the amount of light availability. For example, I am the student of Himachal Pradesh. Okay, I required a maximum cold. Okay, and then only I'll grow very nicely. Like this strawberry, raspberry, gooseberry, blackberry, all those plants are saying less light. I'm a coconut plant, I'm a date plant, I require maximum sunlight. Okay, coconut plant requires maximum sunlight, strawberry requires less sunlight. That is the meaning of photoperiodism. Chemotaxis, the movement of any particular plant cell, okay, towards a chemical molecule. For example, the pollen grain is making the pollen tube in interaction with the chemicals of the stigma. That is chemotaxism. Phototrophism, the shoot tip is growing towards the light. That is phototrophism. Okay, all these terms, if you're understanding, then only we can say the answer. So I am ending this pool. I am going to the next important question. Good student. Okay, now we are coming for the next question. Okay, always Nikhil Sharma is saying the answer. Other student also should open the mouth and then should say the answer. Okay, I'm getting few response from other students as well. Which type of fruit develops from the ovary of multiple separate flower closely packed together on a single receptacle? On a single receptacle. Uh, we already discussed this question as a notes. Okay, the one student given the message simple fruit, that is not exactly correct. Okay, we already discussed the simple fruit is having the single ovary. Here we discussed about the ovary of the multiple separate flower closely packed up. Aggregate fruit is the correct answer. Aggregate fruit is the correct answer, right? Your answer should be very fast. Why? Because in biology, the diagram, when we are drawing the diagram, it takes a lot of time. Okay, and then second thing is when we are doing the mathematical genetics, mathematical molecular basis of inheritance, it takes some time. So in the multiple choice question, we should not take this much time. Your answer should be very fast. Good. I am going for the next question. Here in the case of the next important question, right? I am launching this question. Be very careful with this. In a process known as apomixis, some plant produces seeds without fertilization. Which part of flower typically undergoes apomixis? Very important answer. So any one of you can say this. We discussed apomixis. No sepal, no petal, no stamen. Or is a correct answer. Or is a correct answer. So we need to think about all the probabilities. Sepal, withers. I'm a plant. I undergone the fertilization process. So once the fertilization is completed, the flower, sepal, and petal degenerates. Stamen degenerates. Only the ovary will sustain. Only the ovary will sustain. Okay, sepal, petal, stamen will not exist. Okay, I'm a stamen. I given the pollen grain. My work is over. Okay, I'm a sepal. I'm a petal. I attracted the insect pollinators. My job is over. The answer is ovary, right? So please remove all the other options. Okay, we need to correlate many number of times very fastly. So now I'm ending the pool. I'm going to the next important question. Here in this, I'm launching the question. Read the answer carefully without referring the multiple notes. What is the term for the mutualistic relationship between the flowering plants and ants, where the ants defends the plant in exchange for the food? Symbiosis, the word I can't use. Why? Because both are getting benefited. Okay, both are getting benefited. That is called symbiosis. Okay, that exists together for many number of generation, right? So the and the word I use specifically, right? Okay, both are getting benefited by exchanging the food. The in the terminology, okay, myrimecophily, okay, myrimecophily is the uh, ant pollination, right? So here mutualism, fungus and algae are establishing a symbiotic relationship. Okay, that word I can't use it here. Okay, commensalism. Okay, here one is getting benefited, other is not getting benefited. In commensalism. Whereas here plant is also getting benefit and is also getting benefit. Both are getting benefited. So there is a reason why we remove B, C, and D option. We choose an Myribic hopefully is the correct answer. So your answer should be very fast. Okay, thank you for the response. Few students are very fast in saying the response. So now I am launching the next important question. If you're talking about, can you see this? Which of the following is a rare parasitic flowering plant that lacks chlorophyll and relies entirely on host plants for the nutrients? Here, of course, it is not. Here, this dandelion is having the chlorophyll. The answer is Indian pipe. Indian pipe is the correct answer. This Indian pipe is showing the parasitic phenomena. So sometimes they will ask other examples. So not necessary to remember all the plant examples, right? For example, here if you're talking about cuscuta, it's a parasitic plant. Other parasitic plant example. So okay, for CBSE, 5 examples are enough, right? We don't want many examples. Common examples like cuscuta, Austoria, these are all the parasitic plants, right? 5 examples are enough. We already told you. In addition to the option B, right? To the CBSE circle, there is enough, right? I'm ending the poll and I'm going for the next question launch. Be very careful in reading the question and saying the answer. Here, in some plants like the corpus flowers, Amorphophallus titanum produces exceptionally large and full-smelling flower. What is the purpose of this odor? Okay, the thing is to odor means smell, right? This smell is to attract the specific pollinators. So some pollinators like certain bird smell also, certain insects like. The answer is to attract cell pollinators. That is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. So I'm in this pool, and then here this plant, corpus plant, giving the smell to attract the specific pollinators. So now we discussed with you the many number of questions. I am going for the next question for discussion, right? So after this, we are coming again back for the worked examples discussion. In this discussion, I already launched this question number 7, right? What is the term for specific development stage of the pollen grain that is capable of germinating and producing the pollen tube? The pollen tube is not formed by the zygote, of course. The microspore is the answer. Why? Because the microspore is another term of the pollen grain, right? Right. So, what is the term for specific development stage of the pollen grain that is capable of germinating and producing a pollen tube? That is, microspore is doing the things properly, right? So, the protoplasm is nothing but the cytoplasm and the nucleus together is called protoplasm. Genetic cell is a male gamete. Here, if you're talking about microspore, only capable of germinating and producing the pollen tube. The other name of the pollen grain is microspore, right? Zygote is not the correct answer. It's okay. By repeated practice, we can manage. So I'm ending the pool and I'm going to the next session. Thank you all for saying the answers. Response very faster. If you're talking about, I think so you can see my screen here, right? So any one of you are having any doubt up to this point, please let me know. Few worked examples. So we are in the end phase of this particular chapter. Okay, second chapter. Okay, in this second chapter, we discuss post-fertilization process. In this post-fertilization process, in endosperm, we now discussed the questions. So this is one of the assertion reasoning question. As of now, we not discussed at all. The assertion reasoning question, we know very well the pattern. In this pattern, okay, can you see this structure here? Okay, you can go for self-practice, right? Endosperm is completely measured during the development of what exactly? I'll enlarge and I'll show you. You need not to worry about it. Endosperm is completely consumed during the development of embryo in X albuminous seed. Castor, pea, and bean are all the example of X albuminous seed, right? This is the question. So here, first of all, I'll explain what do you mean about albuminous seed. Okay, so albuminous seed means having the persistent endosperm. If it is not having, then it is called X albuminous or A albuminous seed. Okay, so albuminous means, again back I'm saying to you, persistent endosperm. Okay, persistent endosperm, right? So the answer for this particular question, okay, here, can we go for explanation in detail? The assertion reasoning, one will be we know very well the question pattern. Assertion, statement, might be correct, might be wrong. Reason might be correct, might be wrong. Accordingly, we need to choose all the four options, right? So we will examine, this is the answer for this, okay? You can see this answer. Okay, even, can you see this place here? Albuminous seeds may contain a small amount of endosperm after development. That is the reason why I told you persistent endosperm. Persistent endosperm. Okay, persistent endosperm. This is the answer for this, right? So you should be very careful in saying all this information. So now I'm coming for the question 2. The question 2. Be very careful. Okay. Okay, I'm zooming in so that what you can see this from which one of the ovule, how the pollen grain gains energy into the embryo sac of the hibiscus flower is nothing but a China flower. So in this session, we discussed MCQ, we discussed Qs, we discussed the assertion reasoning questions. So there is a reason why the Go-To University is meant for discussing multiple questions, which is asked n number of time for the past many number of years. State the fate of the male nuclei present in the pollen tube. How does the pollen tube gains entry into the embryo sac of the hibiscus? Both these things are not the multiple choice questions, right? This is a subjective question. How you'll write the answer in such a way we can get the very good, amazing mark with the examiner. Okay, please think and say the answer. And you can type the answer in the Q&A section. Okay. Anyone of you are having any doubt in this question? Okay. Can you see this pollen tube entry? Pollen tube entry gains entry to the embryo sac of the hibiscus flower through microfile. We know very well this pollen tube is formed by the tube cells of the pollen grain. See, listen, just randomly you should not talk anything. Pollen grain has so many number of cells. It is having vegetative cell, it is having the generative cell, it is having tube cells. The tube cells of the pollen grain is exclusively responsible for the formation of pollen tube, right? This is the way the answer narration should supposed to be when we are presenting the board answer. The fate of the male nuclei. The male nuclei present in the pollen tube undergoes double fertilization. What is the other name of the male nuclei? The intelligent student always think in multiple dimension. So the one male nuclei will make zygote. Other male nuclei will fuse with secondary polar nucleus. So this two male nuclei denotes male gamete nucleus, male sexual nucleus. Nuclei is plural. Nuclei is plural. Nuclei is plural. Nuclei is plural. Yes or no? Nuclei is plural. Yes or no? Right. So now, if we're talking about the the way the subjective answer should supposed to be, right? So we discussed all the varieties of questions today, okay, of the board, right? Okay. Now, if we're talking about the third question, we'll discuss one by one in detail. Can you see this question here, right? What is the process that follows fertilization in which the zygote undergoes a series of cell division to form a multicellular structure? Any one of you can say the answer for this? Okay, again back in the MCQ. Any one of you can say the answer for this? Again back I'm repeating. Fertilization in which zygote undergoes a series of cell division to form a multiple structure. Of course, no gametogenesis, no pollination, no photosynthesis, embryogenesis. Embryogenesis, right? Embryogenesis, right? Yes or no? The embryogenesis, the word is given yes or no? You can see this embryogenesis. So, my dear student, you can also see the explanation when you are Googling. Like this, I'm not saying. You work in our portal, you can practice all this type of questions for a better understanding, right? And now, okay, MCQs, varieties we saw. And now, we are going for the next important question. Calmly listen to me. Which of the following is not a post-fertilization event? Any one of you can say the answer for this in Q&A section. You can post it. Of course, pollination is not the part of post-fertilization. Zygote formation, no. Okay. Then seed development. Okay, again back. It's not a post-fertilization event. Fruit formation, seed formation, zygote formation. All the things are the post-fertilization phase, right? So pollination is the correct answer. Pollination is the correct answer, right? Pollination is the correct answer. Yes or no? So pollination is the correct answer. So we should be very, very careful. Okay, pollination is a pre-fertilization phase. It's not the part of post-fertilization phase, right? So now these type of, we discussed 2-mark question, we discussed a 5-mark question, we discussed 3-mark question, we discussed assessment reasoning question, right? So all the varieties of questions we discussed today, and now we are entering into the one more important question. What is the mature ovary of a flower that develops after fertilization and contains seeds in it? Means of course, mature ovary of a flower that develops after fertilization and contains seed. Stigma, style, or fruit? Mature ovary. Answer, fruit. Right. So, can you see this? The answer, the ovary of the flower, fruit. Am I correct? So, can you see? After fertilization, the ovary of the flower develops into fluid, which encloses and protects the seed. That is the correct answer. So, that is the thing we already narrated for you, right? So, always correlating yourself with your learned information. Okay, is very, very important. Now we'll go for worked examples. This we not discussed in the last class. The role of the seed coat. The role of the seed coat, right? If you're talking about the role of the seed coat, uh, the seed coat, as I already told you many number of times, it is very, very important for the water interaction. And if the water is getting interacted, the germination happens very faster. With whom the germination happens very faster? The seed germination happens very faster with what? With whom? With the water, right? And also dormancy regulation. What do you mean about dormancy regulation? The seed coat may impose dormancy by preventing water and oxygen entry. So it should be very flexible. How it will become very flexible? The seed coat should become thinner. If it is becoming thinner, then the water entry possibility is much more. Oxygen entry possibility is much more. So the water entry possibility and the oxygen entry possibility should be kept in a maximum level. So then the seed germination happens very faster, right? Describe the process of seed germination in the plant. We know very well the seed germination is a complex process. Okay, as I already told you, the seed absorption means in the sense water absorption to the seed coat makes the metabolism to happen very faster, and the enzymes are getting activated because of the water, because of the very good amount of nutrition circulation, and embryo expansion is very, very important for the seed to grow, right?